Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's story. In this episode, James and Diep's love faces its greatest trial yet, when James's mother discovers their relationship and forbids him from being with Diep. To her, Diep's poor background and unexpected pregnancy bring only shame. But to James, they mean love, responsibility, and a future worth fighting for. Stay with us until the end of the video to see how far James will go to protect his love. And if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us. The sun rose over the village, spreading golden light across the wide fields, where Diep bent low, her hands carefully lifting ginger roots from the earth. She worked with precision, her voice steady as she explained, "Ginger isn't just for cooking. It helps with coughs, with colds, and even for forest baths." James, standing beside her, tried to copy her rhythm, gripping the hoe with awkward hands. Sweat rolled down his forehead, and he laughed as he finally unearthed a root, its skin covered in clumps of soil. "See, easier than digging up potatoes," he teased, proud of his small success. Diep shook her head, brushing dirt from her palms. "The ground's too dry. It hasn't rained much. Growing ginger in this kind of soil is harder than it looks." James paused, glancing at her. He noticed how she carried herself, with quiet strength, her body used to hard labor, her smile faint but unwavering. The sharp scent of ginger mixed with the hot air, stirring something in his chest. Each moment with her, even among cracked earth and failing crops, made him feel more alive. It wasn't just farming he was learning. It was her world, her struggles, her spirit. A few shriveled roots appeared in her basket. Diep frowned. "The sun burns too hot. These are ruined." James looked at her, sensing the sadness behind her words. "We'll find a way," he said softly, though he wasn't sure how. The day wore on. As the light softened into afternoon, they sat together on a woven mat under the shade. Their meal was simple: ginger stir-fried with scraps of meat, forest greens adding fragrance. Diep cut an old plastic bottle into chopsticks, her laugh bright as James watched with amazement. Before they ate, they bowed their heads. James prayed, "Thank you, God. Bless this food for our strength, in Jesus' name." The first bite surprised him. "This tastes better than anything back home. Must be your cooking." Diep chuckled, her eyes shining but edged with weariness. "At first, farming was exciting, but day after day, it just becomes survival." James nodded. He could see the truth. The endless cycles of planting and waiting, of hoping the rain would come, of watching profit vanish in a bad season. He reached across the mat, his gaze lingering on her face. For him, this quiet meal in the field felt like the entire world. A breeze swept past, rustling leaves, carrying with it the scent of soil. In that moment, James wasn't a businessman or his mother's son. He was simply a man beside Diep. He longed to freeze this instant, to hold on to it forever. But deep down, he knew shadows hung over them. His family's expectations, his mother's disapproval. They pressed against him like storm clouds on the horizon. Diep's gaze drifted over the ginger field, her lips pressed tight, as though she sensed the same storm. Silence fell between them, filled only by the sound of distant birds. Their eyes met once more, holding promises they dared not speak. Happiness here was fragile, a flame flickering against the wind. By evening, the sun melted into crimson along the village path. James and Diep sat close together on a worn wooden bench, their shoulders touching. The world seemed to still, save for the whisper of leaves overhead. James swallowed hard, his voice unsteady. "I love you, Diep." Her smile was soft but sad. She lowered her eyes. "My father was a gambler. He left my mother with nothing but debt. People here never forget. Even my mom worries I'll walk the same path." James's chest tightened. He gripped her hand firmly. "You are not him. You're stronger than anyone I know. I'll stand by you." But as he said the words, unease crept into his heart. He knew what his mother valued: status, wealth, a spotless reputation. None of that matched Diep's life. Diep gave him a small cloth bag, her fingers brushing his as if to prolong the touch. In return, James handed her a small toy he had carried from the city, a simple token, but meaningful. They exchanged them as though clinging to proof that their love was real, that it could survive. Yet her eyes drifted toward the horizon. "If your mother finds out, she'll never allow it. Everything will fall apart." Her voice trembled, and tears rimmed her lashes. James drew her closer, whispering reassurances. But deep inside, he felt the weight of truth. His mother's will was unbending. The birds called in the distance, their cries sharp, like warnings of trouble ahead. The last light of day bled into darkness. James held her hand tighter, as if his grip could defy fate itself. But both of them knew their love stood on a fragile edge, ready to shatter at a single blow. That night, the fields lay under silver moonlight. James stood alone, scattering feed for Hockey, his dog, but his mind was elsewhere. His voice broke as he whispered, "She loves me, but Mom won't ever allow it." Behind him, the rustle of fabric. His mother stepped into the pale glow, her posture stern, her eyes cold as stone. "James," she said sharply, "I know about Diep." He turned, stunned, then dropped to his knees. "Mom, please, don't forbid us. I love her. She's not just some poor farmer. She's my future." His mother's jaw tightened, her voice cutting like ice. "She's beneath you. And worse, pregnant before marriage? I will never accept her." The words pierced him. Desperation surged. "Then I won't give her up." His shout ripped through the night. For a heartbeat, silence. Then his mother's face went pale. Her body swayed, her hand clutching her chest. In an instant, she crumpled. "Mom!" James caught her, panic exploding in his chest. "Please, open your eyes. I didn't mean it." He shook her gently, tears streaming down his face. The night air grew cold, the wind howling as if the earth itself mourned. James held her tightly, his cries echoing into the emptiness. Regret gnawed at him. Regret for his outburst, for the pain he had caused, for the storm that had now truly broken. The moonlight fell over his mother's pale face, over James's trembling arms, over the shattered hope he had carried for Diep. Love had brought him joy, but it had also opened a rift that threatened to consume everything. The night pressed in heavier, suffocating, as James clung to his mother, torn between the woman who gave him life and the woman who now carried his child. The following morning, the house was hushed, save for the creak of wooden beams as James paced the floor. His mother lay on the bed, her face pale, but eyes burning with unspoken judgment. Diep's name was never mentioned, yet it hung in the room like smoke. James sat at her side, guilt twisting in his chest. "Mom," he began softly, "I never meant to hurt you. But please, don't judge Diep by her family's past." Her gaze hardened. "A poor girl with a gambler father, carrying your child before marriage, James. Do you understand what people will say? The shame this brings to us?" James clenched his fists, forcing down his rising anger. People's words don't matter. What matters is she's kind, hardworking, and she loves me. Isn't that what should count? His mother turned her face away, her silence sharper than any reply. James stood, heart heavy, knowing the battle had only just begun. Meanwhile, in the fields, Diep worked with quiet determination, though her spirit wavered. Her hands tugged at weeds, her body already fatigued from early pregnancy. Every sound of passing villagers carried whispers, rumors spreading that she had ensnared James, that she was unworthy. Their eyes followed her, piercing, judgmental. That evening, she sat alone by the small wooden table in her home. Her mother placed a trembling hand on her shoulder. "Diep, people talk too much. But remember, no matter what they say, you are my daughter. You are strong." Diep tried to smile, but her heart ached. She touched her belly, whispering a prayer for the tiny life within. Love for James gave her hope, yet fear of his mother's wrath loomed like a shadow she couldn't shake. Days later, James returned to the field, carrying a small basket of fruit. His steps quickened as he spotted Diep, bent over, her hair sticking to her damp cheeks. "Diep," he called gently. She straightened, wiping her forehead, and forced a smile, but the worry in her eyes betrayed her. "You shouldn't come here so often. Your mother—" "I don't care what she says," James interrupted, his voice fierce. "I promised you I'd stay, and I will." Diep shook her head. "It's not that simple. She'll never accept me. And with the baby, she'll only hate me more." James took her hands, rough with soil, and pressed them to his chest. "Then let her hate me instead. I don't need her approval to love you, Diep." For a moment, the world stilled. But before she could answer, footsteps crunched along the path. James's mother appeared, her figure tall, her expression carved from stone. "Enough," she said coldly. "Diep, leave my son alone. I will not let you drag him down." Diep's knees weakened, but she stood tall. "Madam, I never wanted to take anything from you. I only loved James." His mother's eyes flashed. "Love? Love doesn't fill bellies or save reputations. Do you think you can give my son the life he deserves?" James stepped forward, his voice trembling with fury. "She gives me more than wealth ever could. She gives me peace. She gives me purpose." The air crackled with tension. Villagers who had paused to watch whispered among themselves. Diep lowered her eyes, shame burning through her. Tears spilled as she whispered, "Maybe she's right. Maybe I can't give you what you deserve." James grabbed her shoulders. "Don't say that. Don't you dare believe it." His mother's voice cut through, final and sharp. "James, if you stay with her, you are no longer my son." The words struck like a thunderclap. Diep staggered back, her heart breaking. She turned away, fleeing down the dusty path, her sobs swallowed by the wind. James called after her, but she didn't stop. That night, James sat in the empty field where they once laughed together. The moon rose high, cold and distant. Hockey lay at his feet, silent, sensing his master's grief. James replayed his mother's ultimatum in his mind, each word a chain tightening around him. But then he remembered Diep's smile, the warmth of her touch, the quiet strength she carried even in hardship. "No," he muttered, his voice firming. "I won't let them tear us apart." The following days turned into a storm of conflict. James defied his mother openly, working alongside Diep in the fields, eating at her table, showing the villagers he chose her despite the whispers. His mother retaliated, forbidding him entry into their home, cutting ties with his name. The weight of family honor clashed violently against the pull of his heart. Diep, torn between love and fear, tried to distance herself. "James, you're losing everything for me," she cried one evening as they sat under the trees. "Your family, your name. What if you regret this?" James pulled her close, pressing his forehead against hers. "The only regret I'd have is losing you. Let them say what they want. Let Mom turn her back. You and the baby are my future now." Her tears flowed freely, but for the first time in weeks, a small smile touched her lips. She wanted to believe him, to hold on to the fragile hope he offered. The battle with his mother did not end, but James's resolve only grew stronger. Slowly, even the villagers began to see his determination. Where there had once been whispers, now there was a cautious respect. One evening, as the sun sank behind the hills, James stood with Diep at the edge of the field. He placed a hand over her growing belly and whispered, "One day, our child will know that we fought for them, that love, real love, was worth every sacrifice." Diep leaned against him, her heart swelling with both fear and courage. The road ahead was uncertain, and his mother's disapproval still loomed. But in that moment, wrapped in the fading glow of twilight, they felt unbreakable. Together, they faced a world that wanted to divide them. Together, they chose love, even when it cost them everything. And though storms still threatened, the fire between them burned bright, an unyielding flame that neither judgment nor disapproval could extinguish.